What's up, YouTube? Capital G here, giving you guys a market watch, letting you guys know what the heck is going on in the secondary market. This is our post YCS Anaheim market watch. YCS Anaheim definitely had a significant impact on the market. I think it kind of assured people a lot in cards that they thought were going to be good or cards that they already knew were good. They just kind of needed a little bit of reassurance. I mean, it's one thing when you think a deck is good, but then when you go see, a couple of that deck go top like a YCS, you're like, okay, now I know the deck is good. So there have definitely been some cards that have been affected by YCS Anaheim, a lot of the frog engine, and then there have of course been some cards that I think are just mainly hype. I think that people saw one player do good with it, they're like, oh Cap, that card is just fire, I gotta pick it up. And I'm like, hold your brakes. We'll start there. We'll go ahead and start with the Green Dragon Rod Spear Mode. This card is up to almost $27 on TCG Player. I believe before Anaheim started it was only about $18. I think I saw it at the lowest, and it even had a normal market price of about $20. So for it to be up $7 just because one guy did go undefeated in Swiss siding it is a little crazy, but it does break big boards up, floodgate monsters that are hard to destroy, monsters that act as traps, Murmilio, things that can kind of dodge removal like Omega and Kieran, also just stunning cards like Vanity's Fiend and Dark Law, Vanity's Emptiness. It's an out to that in case your opponent has the Vanities and you really can't do much of anything when it comes to special summoning. I think this card is way overpriced. I would absolutely not advise you guys to pick this up, even if it goes up even more. I think that's just a risk that you have to take because I don't think it's that important in the meta. And I think if you have these, cash in, guys. Take the $27. If you're sitting on a playset of these, I mean, you're almost looking at $90. Just take the money because I think that this is going to be probably the highest that this card has ever been. Also, there is a small chance that this could be reprinted next year because I know we're getting some packs that revolve around Yu-Gi-Oh's 20th anniversary and stuff like that, so it could be reprinted. Metaphors Mithrilum. This is becoming, or actually I think it is now, most Metaphors players would agree this is the most important fusion, so it's actually kind of crazy. I picked up one of these because I was playing Cherries on my Dark Magician, and I was like, I guess I'll pick one of these up for if I play against Metaphors, I can banish it and that'll help me out. And I didn't even know how important this was. I think Billy Break was the first one to kind of start talking about it, or at least the first big major player to say, hey, look, this is a card we need to be running at 3 of in Metaphors. Don't run 2, don't run 1, run 3 of this. And I don't know if you can say that about the other cards like Alkahest and Orderhawk and stuff like that. So this card was actually, when I picked it up maybe 2-3 weeks ago, it was like an $8 card. It's almost at $20 now. I actually could see her hitting $20 just because she is right now the most important. I mean, for her to be an ultra rare and to be more expensive than Alkahest, that's kind of crazy. She's a lower rarity, but she's $5 more expensive. So if you guys have this and you don't plan on picking Metaphors up, I mean, I'd say just go ahead and cash in. I mean, even if it goes to 20, so what? You missed out on $2, but chances are you pulled this out of a pack, and I mean, you're over $15 richer. Totally awesome. So this is one that I think some people might blame me for, but I'm just gonna say I thought that this in Dimensional Barrier were going to flip after YCS Anaheim because you just look at how big Totally Awesome had as far as an impact on that event. I mean, 1/3 of the top 32 decks were playing Totally Awesome. You see how strong of a performance that Paleozoics had, and just about every deck, no one runs one Totally Awesome unless you're running Cherries, you know what I mean? So even people who don't run, who can't summon this thing, are still running it for Cherries because of Paleozoics and because of decks like Mermail and Totally Heroes and stuff like that. So a lot of decks run 2, Paleozoics run 3, and I'm not gonna lie, I could totally see this becoming a $75 card. It's a format defining card, and if you look at other cards like that, Pot of Desires, they have reached that price before. So even with a pack or a holo in every pack, I mean, we still can easily get $90 to $100 cards, and I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I would buy a totally. I wouldn't invest in this $57 or $58 to try and resell it. But if you needed one, or if you needed Totally Awesomes because you're gonna play a deck that runs it, or for Cherries, I would strongly suggest picking this card up. Dimensional Barrier. So I actually think that this card is on the decline. A while ago, maybe about 10 days ago, it was a $70 card. It's down to about $61. I honestly would just hold out. Like if you don't have an event for the next couple of weeks, I'd try and hold out and see if you can get one for about $55. I could totally see this card dropping to $50 because it is a good card. You do see some people main deck it. I don't think it's main deck worthy. I mean, it's a very, very good side card. And when Zodiac Beast comes out, I think it'll spike hard, and I think it'll go back up to like 75. But between December to January, I think that it's going to be on the downward spiral because there's still a lot of decks in the format like Metaphors and Heroes and Mermill, and even decks like Heroes that have two different mechanics. I mean, if you call Ixchel against ABC or Metaphors, they can still Fusion, they can still Pendulum. If you call Fusion against Heroes, they can still Ixchel. If you call Ixchel against Mermill, they can still Trishula. They can still, summon Leo, Tatsunoko you, and then drop like Mulan Glacier. So the card is good. I think it's more of side deck worthy. When Zodiac Beast come out, then I think it'll be absolutely like main deck worthy. Cosmic Cyclone. So this is our MST replacement that has actually been super successful. I think it's really successful because just using Cosmic Cyclone on things like Metaphors Fusion or Pendulum Scales is just such a big deal. I mean, think about if you're playing against Metaphors and they get their fusion and then you just use Cyclone on it and it's like, wow, they can't fuse for the whole game basically, and then, unless they use the full Metaphors Fusion. This card was sitting at under $13, but it's currently about $17. Actually, no, this is 16 plus 2 shipping. Holy Bon Jovi, this is a $18 card. I mean, it definitely warrants the price tag because it is only out in one printing. I mean, think about if MST had only been available at like Magic Ruler as an Ultra and they hadn't reprinted it 500,000 times, probably would have been somewhere around this price tag too. So I mean, it's an expensive card. If you guys don't want to run Twin Twister, I think that you go here and then you look at maybe MST or Galaxy Cyclone before like other cards. Dark Lords have shot up to fucking hell. I know some people are like, oh Cap, come on, Dark Lord Ixchel has been 44 a little bit. Let me just show you guys something right quick, right? This was a video that John Moore did. Look at this. This is 10 days ago, right? Look at Ixchel's price. Ixchel was 27 plus, let me see if I can make that a little bigger. Okay, so she was $27 10 days ago, right? $27. This bitch has gone up to 42. She has gone up $15 in 10 days. That's fucking insane. There's the second one I want to show if I can find it. Where you at, Swap Frog? Okay, so Swap Frog was about a $52 card, right? 10 days ago, guys. $52 10 days ago. It is $61. Well, let's just say $62. So it's gone up $10. Ixchel has gone up $15. These are cards, in my opinion, that have been directly affected by Anaheim. Like, people saw Dark Lord's top and they're like, oh yeah, Dark Lords are an amazing deck. Apparently she is short printed. Konami does this. I swear to goodness, they do this at least once a year. We all know that it happened with Necros or Brionic. That was probably the most egregious thing they have ever done in the TCG as far as printing goes. But it seems like every once in a while, once a year, they'll short print one very, very good card for an archetype and it'll artificially inflate the price. And Ixchel is that card. She's a short print. It's kind of crazy because I hate to say this, but if Dark Lords actually end up winning an event, like if they win a YCS, this bitch will be $80. I absolutely promise you guys it will happen because everyone and their mom, all the competitive players, like, oh my God, gotta get Dark Lords. And there's just not that many to go around. It really sucks because like somebody like me who, sometimes I tend to switch up my decks every once in a while. Dark Lords would have been a deck that I probably would have considered picking up, maybe playing it with just like one Desires or something like that. But honestly, it's just, you're paying over $120 just for 3 copies of Ixchel. So I think that Dark Lord is pretty much off the map. So let's go to another Dark Lord card. This one is even crazier. Dark Lord Natson is $20. It's crazy because if you look at just the Ixchels plus the Natsons, obviously you're going to run 3 of each. I mean, basically you're already at $200. You throw in the Desires and you've got yourself $400+ deck. It's kind of crazy. Dark Lords, they did have 2 decks in they did have 2 decks in top 32. So I guess you can say maybe this one is kind of worth it. All of these cards are only available in secret rare out of Destiny Soldiers. I knew that nothing in Destiny Soldiers was going to be worth any money but the Dark Lord stuff. I knew from the beginning that Destiny Soldiers was a terrible set. I was like, there's nothing in that set that's worth wiping your ass with other than the Dark Lord stuff. And I didn't think the Dark Lord stuff would be like that much money, but that's kind of crazy. And then Vanity's Fiend, anytime Vanity's Fiend sees play in a competitive meta, it does go up in price just because there aren't that many printings of Vanity's Fiend, and a lot of them are ultimate rares, and a lot of people don't want to spend $27 for ultimates. I mean, you might see $15 here or $22.50. You can ignore these because this is damage. These are fucked up copies of the card. If you want an ultimate rare Vanity's Fiend, you're almost dropping $28 on it. But even for like the rare copies or the commons, it's basically an $8 to $9 card. Yes, coming out of Cyberdark Impact, coming out of like Champion Pack. It hasn't been printed that much, and we kind of saw this happen earlier this year with Monarchs when Domain Monarchs are really big, playing like Vanity's Fiend, and the main deck against like Performages and Pals was like really, really strong, and we saw this card go up to like $10, and it's pretty much happening again because of Dark Lords. The card is kind of seeing play at like 3. It's a very good turn 1 summon, especially if you can somehow get Christia and this out, then things like Archfiend Eccentric won't out it. Breakthrough Skill, Evac, those won't out it, and it's just a really, really strong board that most players are going to have to like auto lose to or just like auto scoop to. So anyways, I've seen as far as this market watch goes, it looks like the 2 decks that were affected the most are pretty much anything related to Frogs and Dark Lords. Like those decks have just skyrocketed, and it's because they did have very, very good showings at YCS Anaheim. So let me know what you guys think. If you have any of these cards, I would say just go ahead and sell most of them, except like Vanity's Fiend. I think this card will pretty much like sustain its what's it called, his marketability, its price, because Vanity's Fiend it hasn't been printed as a holo like that's easily accessible. I mean, they haven't made like a gold series Vanity's Fiend or just like a Mega 10 Vanity's Fiend that's like an ultra or something like that, or I don't know. They need to reprint this card as a fucking gold series card already. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you have not already.